gonna cover He-Man stuff until this happened. Hello, everyone. I am still... Spaceship isn't working. Mecha Random. There it is. Mecha Random 42. The one, the only, the original. Your favorite YouTube harpy. And anything you guys say in like pop-ups and super chats and subscriptions might have a chance of appearing in a video later. We've got a whole bunch of He-Man stuff to talk about, and I think everybody knows what's been going on with YouTubers. Shout out to them, Clownfish TV. They've so passionately been covering every aspect and every moment of He-Man, She-Ra. I dipped my toe into She-Ra back when they first announced it, and I couldn't make it through that crap because I was a She-Ra fan in the 80s when I was a kid. I liked She-Ra a lot. I remember He-Man. I remember all this stuff. I was an 80s baby. Of course I was. So of course I remember all this stuff. I wasn't really going to pay that much attention to this until we started seeing a lot of back and forth. And we started seeing rumors and images and things. Boom. Magic. According to Clownfish TV's source, it's going to focus more on Teela, and you know what we think whenever we hear something is going to focus more on the female characters. We think that we're going to be played again, and Smith shitting on Clownfish TV was unprofessional. Yes, he was. Yes, absolutely. But he also was calling out Screen Rant, too. He was also calling out Screen Rant, and there's a few sides to this story. There's a few sides to this one. This line right here, it's up to Teela to solve the mystery of the missing sword in a race against time. It's going to, according to this, it's leaning towards more Teela being the focus. Well, when you go and look at Bounding Into Comics, they're pulling up the Screen Rant stuff where they're basically saying it's going to be a series about Teela. We've already kind of heard a lot of back and forth. Is it about Teela? Is it not about Teela? Kevin Smith has been getting involved, calling out Clownfish TV a couple of times now. Well, now Kevin Smith has gotten involved, and everybody who knows anything about anything geekdom knows Kevin Smith. Clerks, huge geek, involved with this. Everybody knows who he is, so don't even need to pull up all that stuff because you're here on this channel. You're on a geek pop culture channel. You already know who Kevin Smith is. The big part of this is the Twitter thread, though, that I really, really want to pull up from, right? Kevin Smith, with all due respect to Screen Rant, I've read every Masters of the Universe script for our shows, plus I wrote a few and viewed 4 amazing animatics. While Teela is present, and she will always be in the Masters of the Universe adventures, she plays a big role. Our series is literally about He-Man. Now, where does this sound familiar? Where does this really, really sound familiar? This reminds me of when articles and some YouTubers talk about the Bill and Ted stuff, where we basically had to go in and get from Ed Solomon, screenwriter himself, to say, no, the daughters in Bill and Ted are not the main characters. And this is kind of what's happening here. So if you haven't seen this whole thread, definitely check out my Twitter feed. And Tom jumps in from Midnight's Edge. That's why I wanted Tom on this video, because he knows so much more about He-Man than I do. I jump in and talk to Tom about it because he's my buddy, right? Said at least he's sort of responding to YouTubers. Those people over at Star Trek just play YouTubers and viewers off each other with silence. But yeah, so much stuff can be cleared up without the access media being the middleman in between us, right? So we've got some viewers jumping in, and this is the screenshot where it kind of says, yes, Teela is going to be a huge talking point. Before we get into the whole thread, and you see a blue check mark there, and don't bother him, don't complain to him, don't at him, don't do anything, because they're nice enough to talk to us. We don't want a whole bunch of people piling on saying, it's gonna be woke, how dare you give us a woke thing. We don't want any of that, especially once you start seeing the thread here. But one of the things why I kind of jumped in and was talking to Tom about this is because, yeah, it really feels like every time we get one of these sort of issues of they're going to have a chick character in something that was traditionally a guy property, like Star Wars or, even Star Trek to some extent. Anytime we get something like that and the media kind of latches on that and uses that as something to talk about here, like with Screen Rant saying, yeah, it's going to be about Teela. The focus is going to be about Teela. like I said, you get these Screen Rant articles saying one thing, and then you have YouTubers coming in and saying another thing, or YouTubers, like in the case of Clownfish TV, getting called out for talking about that and getting called, you're just making things up, you're going with rumors, you're running with all, because I got some of that too. I get called out for people saying, hey, you're making up stuff, you're running with, rumors and this and that. We don't always have any other choice but to kind of give you our perspective, especially when we see article after article, especially from Screen Rant, saying how toxic we are as fans, how entitled we are. Shut up, you're going to like this. Give us your money. You're entitled fans. Shut up, you have no right to complain about this. We see that all the time. So, yeah, for the Access Media to come in and kind of confirm what an independent YouTuber got called out for doesn't really help anybody. And I do understand how end of the month works with these article sites. I know there's not been a whole lot of entertainment news for them to talk about because there's a lot of other stuff going on right now that's far more important than entertainment stuff. But hey, we do need our distractions. I am the first person to say, you know what? I just want to watch a coin pusher video for the day and not worry about the world right now. And this is why we're fans of stuff, because we love to escape for about a half an hour or an hour at a time into these fantasy worlds. R.C. Scott, The Dark Crystal is the only good reboot in ages. Well, there's more to that. Keep that in mind when we're talking about this. There's a lot more to that here. The Dark Crystal reboot is kind of relevant here because we do have somebody working on the Masters of Universe project that is from The Dark Crystal. Now, I'm not saying 100% is not going to be a big Teela reboot sort of thing, but we're having a lot of people come in and weigh in and say, here's why, here's the thing, here's the problem. And, of course, my viewer got a response from Griffin Newman, who plays Orko on the show. Don't bother him. Please don't add him. Yes, your point being that was an official outline. It's not an outline, it's a synopsis, setting up the basic premise of the series. It's not describing that everything happens over the entire season. And, of course, I chime in, again, because this is my thread and showing up. I think a lot of people are suspicious about nostalgic properties that chase the current trends of emasculating established male characters, replacing them with female ones, and doing it for marketing purposes. Because that's what ends up happening. They see that a lot of people talk about it, and whether it's intentional or not, they do use that. And look at Screen Rant right there saying it's all about Teela. How many people were actually talking about He-Man right now? Nobody, hardly anybody, until we see that article that pops in that is saying it's about Teela now. So whether it's just the media using that to get attention from it, just by chance, just because, hey, it got attention last time. It's why I sprinkle a Brie Larson video out every month, because I know people are going to go and watch it. I know people are going to click that one a little bit more likely than the same Star Wars video that everybody else made, or the same whatever. That's why I'll sprinkle in an Ellen video too, because I think people will click that one more likely than they will the same video everybody else made. And yeah, you're saying in chat, that's exactly it. And Ghostbusters 2016 started it, in my opinion. Right? Trust Clownfish TV more than ever with Smith or Screen Rant. And that's the other thing. Kevin Smith has definitely got a reputation of towing the line for Hollywood, in my opinion. He definitely seems to be somebody that, while he is absolutely a big fanboy of a lot of this stuff, like a lot of us are. Dude, did you see how much Baby Yoda shit that I buy? Like, seriously. Oh, you can't see it. It's over there. We can actually see it. No, we get, we want to buy these things. We don't mind, even us YouTubers being used to advertise and market these things. These are Mr. Mooney Blue 1, Australian $20. Hey Mecca, keep up the great work. Love listening to you. Well, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Jiggle Cam activated. There's more to this. There's a lot more to this thread. So now I'm kind of thinking, all right, well, we had somebody actually do this. What I asked, it's nice to not have the middleman to go to, right? So I do want to at least acknowledge and shout him out for this. There's more to this. Hopefully I have them all pulled up in order. Hopefully. The viewer sounds very Teela-centric. Griffin Newman responds, Teela is a primary character. This is early marketing material for a show that is still months and months and months away. It pretty much only covers the basic setup of a series, and obliquely at that, a synopsis of A New Hope wouldn't explain what happens in Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi. And he's absolutely right about that. Just a little short plot synopsis, and I think I know why they might be doing this, because saying it's got a strong woman in it is still very marketable. It's very much a, Is it going to be a question that a lot of the press asks? Does it have women? Does it have diversity? Does it have this? Does it? And all the stupid talking points that they're still stuck on because they're the current trendy buzzwords, right? You know, it's no different than the era where like, oh, does it have vampires? Will it have zombies? You know, it's just a trend. It's just a little trend that they're doing. And is that a good thing or a bad thing? No. But what happens is the media use that to get clicks out of us, and then we use that in the same way to play off the media, and then we end up arguing, and then everybody fails. They shouldn't say it focus on Teela to market it. No, they shouldn't. They really, really shouldn't. And that's one of the things we really don't like. And of course, the fan says, excuse me, I don't quite trust a paid employee. He responds, so you'll trust people who haven't actually read the scripts instead. I'm a massive, long-time Masters of the Universe fan. I take it very seriously. I actively fought for this role. If I didn't truly love what this series is doing, I wouldn't defend it in @replies. I would be silent. That I can really, really appreciate, because if we had people like that in the Star Trek camp, we wouldn't feel so attacked as fans. We wouldn't feel like they just want to play us off each other when they talk about how much people talking about it online and disagreeing is a good thing, because that's a good thing for marketing, and we know that. And I don't mind marketing these things if I really, really... That's why I have a life-size freaking Fizz gig that I bought before even Dark Crystal came out that I had on my last live stream. I've since put him away. Oh, no, I didn't. He's right here. I did not put him away. That's why I have a freaking life-size Fizz gig. I freaking love these 80s nostalgic properties because that's my time, you know? That's when I was a kid, and I would have loved to have this in the 80s. I would have loved to have, you know, a really, really good continuations of a lot of this stuff. And he says, I think fans have every reason to be suspicious of you lot. And that's a little mean, but he says, you lot, modern day showbiz is more concerned with a message or an agenda than entertainment. You can't create anything new, so hijack older properties. Some of them do, some of them don't, though. And I do try and at least as much as I can, I do try and myself personally jump in with the good ones, you know, like the Cobra Kais, the Dark Crystals, the ones that do it right, the ones that are actually really, really respectful. The Orville, even though it's not an old established franchise, it's pretty much Star Trek. It's as much Star Trek as we're going to get. Somebody else chimes in, He-Man always had a message. Go rewatch some episodes. I jump in again. I'm not opposed to a message, only being used as an outrage marketing tactic for questioning it. What happens when something's marketed as woke? People talk about it. Giving properties free publicity. Franchises are being milked like cash cows, and we're played against each other. And that's one of the products of this. Of course, he responds to me there, you're creating a huge C word. No. No, I'm noticing a pattern. I'm noticing and connecting a few dots and noticing that, hey, they noticed this last time. So they're gonna screen rant. They're gonna freaking say it's got Teela-centric just to get people talking about it. That's what is going on here. Big media companies do not want to use an outrage marketing tactic because that makes no business sense. They stand to make far more money if everyone actually likes the thing they made. And they would if people actually really, really liked it. This is why I was kind of, I always have to kind of really, really question if somebody like Kathleen Kennedy actually is malicious when she's trying to bring in new fans to Star Wars, or if she's just really, really clueless. So I said, not saying it's a C word or even intentional, but it happens. I don't doubt investors want to make money, but the lack of genuine passion for franchises leads to cash grab nostalgia panders in my experience. Fans want to love everything. It's why we're fans. And I do correct myself. Correction, I didn't specify in my original reply, but sometimes it feels like focus groups come in and say, girl characters trend well. So some properties use that. Not a C word, but a trend chasing is a real thing. They do market themselves. There's more to this. And he responds, I understand where you're coming from. The series in particular is not being subject to any focus groups or anything like that. There's a CG kid series and a live action movie that are both looking to expand the audiences. Revelations is poignantly made for adult Masters of the Universe fans. And that was one of the things that we saw in the very, very first press release, that this was going to be from the fan base. It was going to be closer to Netflix Castlevania, probably, than the new Netflix She-Ra, because let's face it, that Netflix She-Ra is not good. And I did respond. We do have amazing franchises that really come through for fans, like Cobra Kai, Dark Crystal, and I want to add this series to the list. That's the thing. We don't want to hate everything. Give us shit to watch. Nobody wants to be a miserable curmudgeon just going around saying, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks. I get it. We want to love these things. I want to go to Walmart and be like, oh, baby, I want to do that. I want to be like, oh, you're coming home with me, and I don't care because I'm an adult and I have money and I can buy a freaking Baby Yoda. I can choose this now. That's what I want. That's why the nostalgia stuff does so well. That's why I have all the freaking My Little Ponies, because when we were kids in the 80s, we didn't get every single one of them, and now we have money, and we have adult money, and we want to have the whole set instead of just the one or two we had. And there's nothing wrong to pandering to that nostalgia dollar when it's not just a freaking cash grab. And there's more to this. There's more. One more. The same Netflix executive responsible for Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance, is the guy overseeing Revelations. He's the biggest Masters of the Universe fan I've ever met. He has a complete collection of the vintage toy line, including the overseas-only releases. This is not a cynical cash-in show. And I respond. I've complained about Star Wars on YouTube for years, but by every Baby Yoda, because there's nothing wrong with being a consumer when we get good stuff. I've gotten crap for defending Bill and Ted 3 from the is it woke crowd, because I dug deep enough to see it's not another cash grab. And do I think this one is yet? I don't know. The fact that the creators are now kind of jumping in and getting upset, the fact that some of these creators are kind of jumping in and saying, no Screen Rant. The fact that Kevin Smith kind of jumped in here and did call out Screen Rant. I think that might be one step in leaning towards getting rid of some of this access media garbage where they do use that. And whether it's intentional or not, it definitely is a pattern that we notice. And what happens? Look at all the Snyder Cut articles that are like, you shouldn't reward fans. These fans are toxic. They're this political affiliation and that whatever. And it gets old hearing that as a customer, because I'm like, you know what? Fuck everything. I don't want to spend any money on this. But right now we've got enough people actually saying, no, we don't want our property to go through this same crap like Ghostbusters. And that's what it kind of comes across in that tweet thread, that you've got enough people coming in and saying, we don't want our property being yet another thing that everybody's going to hate. And I get that. Don't get me wrong, I get that 100%. And that's why I'm so in supportive of stuff like the Bill and Ted one, and at least the third movie, right? And Ghostbusters Afterlife. I'm so supportive of these ones who actually say, yes, we hear the fans. We want to give you what you want. And even as much as I complain about Star Trek Discovery and Picard, the fact that they at least want to test the waters and try and drum up enough interest in a Pike series to get that one off the ground, because let's face it, he was the best part of Star Trek Discovery Season 2, that at least says, okay, they do actually listen a little bit, just a little bit, even if in the case of Star Trek, they might not understand. We're talking He-Man on this one, and everything's all related. All the consumer advocacy stuff that we do here is all related because we're customers first. We are fans. We are the geeks who will have way too much shit in our house, put it on a shelf, say we want to consume this product. Sonic 2 Sonic 2. Look at Sonic. That's another one. We got a Sonic that freaking looked like Sonic instead of whatever weird new imagining that they had. Like, no. Sonic's a cartoon character. You're CG animating him. Why change him? There's no reason to. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with me, a grown-ass woman, sitting there watching a Sonic the Hedgehog movie in the theater when they're doing it for the right reasons and stuff. And we have so many of these properties that only come off as just cynical cash grabs, like a Ghostbusters 2016, or a lot of these reboots, remakes. Netflix She-Ra comes to mind as a real big example of somebody who wanted to do their own thing and didn't care that it was already an established franchise. They didn't care that it was something that they're going to go in and break the toys of a lot of people who already had it. Because what happened with Netflix She-Ra, and this is why I stopped watching it after episode 2, They came in and they took that She-Ra and they said, nuh-uh, she's got, you know what, we can't have that, let's cover those up, and let's take everything about them that you might want to aspire to be and just chuck that out of the window, because I want to see myself in that one. I want to see the relationship between She-Ra and Catra, and I want this, and this is for me, this is not for kids, this is not for 80s people that are grown adults, no, this is for the 20-year-old Tumblr artists who want to just ship She-Ra and Catra, and that's who that was for. And we know that's who that was for. All right, let me go through and read this real quick, make sure there's nothing I'm missing. Masters of the Universe Revelation showrunner Kevin Smith has responded to the latest report regarding the show sidelining He-Man in favor of Teela. Earlier this week, Screen Rant reported on the show, noting that it would pick up where the original 80s He-Man and the Masters of the Universe series left off. One major difference, quote, is that though He-Man will certainly be around, he won't be the main protagonist anymore. Instead, the focus will be on Teela. They added, even so, He-Man should have a large presence since the series never did get to explore the final battle between He-Man and his greatest enemy, Skeletor. Now, Clownfish TV does jump in. My understanding of Kevin Smith's He-Man series from an alleged insider. Teela is a better He-Man than Adam and steps aside to let her and her girlfriend take over hero duties. If it's true, it won't play well. Following this report, and it subsequently shared to Twitter by YouTube channels Clownfish TV, Kevin Smith responded. Smith wrote on Twitter, "With all due respect to Screen Rant, I've read every Masters of the Universe Revelation script for our shows, plus wrote a few and viewed 4 amazing animatics." He added, "While Teela is present, as she's always been in the Masters of the Universe adventure, and she plays a big role, our series is literally all about He-Man." So if she's going to be like a sidekick, like an ensemble, like she's just going to be in his little D&D raid party or something, yeah. The article now reads, Masters of the Universe Revelation isn't about a reboot, but a sequel series, as it will pick up where the original 80s series left off, with He-Man being the main protagonist. It only makes sense for He-Man. And thank you so much, I really appreciate it. It only makes sense for He-Man to have a large presence since the series never did get to explore the final battle. Alright, so you got the Clownfish's video there, so definitely check that out. You guys already subscribed to them if you're talking about that, but I just wanted to weigh in on my experience in this thread and what I've been told and what happened here. And you know what, if Orko says that this is the same people who did the Dark Crystal thing, and if he says, yes, we're coming to this from, we want to do well, we're not just coming in with this woke crap, it's not a cash grab, I want to believe that, and I want to have a series, especially of Kevin Smith. People have begged for roles on this thing. People don't want to give us crap, and I know they don't want to give us crap all the time. Some companies do. Some companies just want to bleed us dry for every dollar. Oh, what can we reboot now? But if, I'm being told that, yes, from somebody who works on this show, no, there's no focus groups. No, there's not any of this pandering going on. No, we're not just using this to market the show. I'm going to be more inclined to believe that Screen Rant just dug up some rumor and copied Clownfish's video and said exactly what Clownfish said in an effort to drum up some clicks for a slow news week. And yeah, shame on you, Screen Rant. Mr. Roboto, can they just redo Sailor Moon Stars? Well, didn't they do, they've done Crystal, right? I don't know. I wasn't a big Sailor Moon person, but thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Where's my jiggle cam? Everything's low. Everything's so laggy right now. And here's me trying to talk and hold an audience. There you go. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. So yeah, what else are you guys saying? Do you guys believe this or not? Yeah, if Screen Rant called out. Let's see. I'll wait and see it, but if the rumors are true, then Kevin Smith needs to be called out. Absolutely. Yeah. That's the thing. We can take what they're saying now and say, well, we don't have it yet, so we can't see. But if the show drops and it's all Teela, it's going to really, really backfire for the series. And I think a lot of fans are just going to be like, and now you lied to us. Thank you. So I don't see why they would want to do that. I don't see why they would just do that on purpose. I mean, how many things have been changed halfway through because fans reacted badly, or they had poor test screenings, or they had whatever the case may be? How many reshoots did they do of Star Wars? A lot. How many reshoots? I mean, Kathleen Kennedy's fired directors all the time on Star Wars movies because whatever reason didn't work out. So We don't know. We actually don't know what's going on, but we have some inside source saying specifically, no, it's from a place of love. We've got people from Dark Crystal Age of Resistance. No, this isn't a cash grab. No, this isn't all about Teela. This is just one little jumping board for the series to go, and there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff, so we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see, right? I'm kind of like, thank you so much for responding. I really, really appreciate it, but I don't know what to believe right now, because if Screen Rant's running one thing, I mean, it's easier for me to believe that Screen Rant was just lazy and went and copied what Clownfish said in a video. Yes, it is. Sounds like Screen Rant is trying to stir up some nerd rage for clicks. That's what it feels like to me. They were trying to get something, because look at what happened with CBR and that whole Captain America article, right? They're using their old tactics, and people aren't buying that shit anymore. People are tired of it. People get sick of it. We get sick of hearing the same article over and over again about how toxic every fan is. And this is why I don't make the same video all the time, just calling out the same articles over and over again. I'll bring a bunch of them up, and I'll try and use clips and things just to break it up, because we all get tired of it. Kevin Smith has denied it twice. I think I believe him. Yeah, and now Orko's saying it's not. So shout out to Griffin Newman, he also played Arthur on The Tick. So that was the thing. I saw it his bio. I'm like, okay, he's played Arthur on The Tick. He's probably playing Orko. Sure enough, he's going to be playing Orko. So, hey, we got Orko coming back. Yay. All right, tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. When I clip this video, it's going to be a long one probably. I'm going back to my live chat.